All right, so doing a quick hive check on all three hives. That's trying to knock out today. Added a honey super over there last week because they were just filling up everything, and I'm going to move around the feeders in there up to the top super. So the whole brood box is full of just regular frames, and then double check on this. This is my my new queen, so I'll take a look at all the eggs she's laying, the new brood she's laid. Try to get you guys some good pictures of some of the new laying that the queen here has been doing. So it's been looking good. She's growing the population, so we'll double check that she's still doing that, and the pupa's getting bigger and the population's getting stronger, hopefully. So already pretty active. It's about 75 degrees out. We've gotten a ton of rain over the last week, and thankfully doesn't look like any bear damage. So gonna knock out the hive checks and then do some work on the electric fence and make sure that everything's bear proof for the next week. So let's take a look inside. Water everywhere. Still got some food. I'm going to add some food to the other hives. I think they're out. We'll get just a quick look inside here. So, pretty good. I don't know if you can see down in there. We'll take this guy out. Yeah. Okay. So, not terrible. Or, I mean, actually pretty good. I can see a lot of capped honey in there, and I'll pull out some of those frames and take a look at what the brood is going on. Any ads I got there? Take a quick pause. So what I failed to do last week because I couldn't hold the camera steady was give you a look at some of the frames in this one. This was the frame that they had put the supersedure cells and got the new queen on there, and they've since basically converted this whole thing to honey. So you know, you've got a nice row of capped honey there. Get these things knocked off just so they're out of the way, but this thing's coming along pretty good. Oh, don't get my face. Knock those little queen cells off, but that's all capped up there, and then this is all uncapped, and they're building out pretty good on that frame, so that's pretty cool. See if I can find some brood and show you that. All right, so here's a look at one of the frames that's got brood on it, and I picked this one. It's not the most filled out one. You can see there's, you know, probably about a third of this thing is capped brood, and you've got honey up here. But I picked this one because this is all the new queen laying. So she's right there. She's on this frame. You can see her going up underneath near that honey. That's her. That's the new queen. And I don't know if I can get close enough, but you can probably see in there. There's some larvae in there, and then obviously capped brood. This is probably, I don't know, maybe a third of this was capped last week when I came up here. So they're working, and then you can see more uncapped around it. So they're doing good work on this. Not a ton. I mean, she's got some work to do, but it's a good representation. It's got capped brood, honey, and pollen in it. So it's a decent frame in terms of showing the future, what could be of this hive. All right, so this is probably my healthiest hive, my Hive 3. Maybe the most active, certainly the most aggressive, but this one's been doing well. They were building burr comb within a week of me putting this package in. So they've been doing well. I put this honey super on 2 weeks ago, maybe, because they had built out the hive body almost completely. So take a look. Last week they had probably 3 to 5 of the honey super frames filled out, and they're definitely active. You can see them up there, some more burr comb. Scrape that off, but give you a look at this guy. So active up there, and that's all up on the honey super. So I can see comb on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a little bit on the inside there. So 7. There's some drawn out comb down in there. You probably can't see it, but so basically all of these honey super frames are starting to get drawn out. And what I'm doing on this hive, I've got a feeder down there, so I've been feeding them plenty. Obviously this one up here completely empty. That's good. So I'm going to move the feeder out of here, out of the bottom frame, top that one off, and then add in a couple of those main body frames so they can continue to draw out completely and work on the brood down there. So all right, so I picked up the honey super down here, pretty heavy. I'll try to take a look at 1 or 2 of those frames before I get out of here, but the goal today is move the feeder out of here, and yeah, they've got pretty much every frame with drawn out comb. They're not all completely full of brood, but they're all drawn out, which is all good stuff. Nothing yet in the hive beetle trap, although I did see a hive beetle last week, so let's go ahead and pull one of these guys out. Give me some room. These guys are pretty active, not overly aggressive though. A lot of these frames are glued together though, which is again good. They're doing good work here. Lots of pollen, which I'm surprised. So much rain, I wasn't expecting a ton of a change from last week, and not a huge change, but all good signs. I'm gonna try to find the queen too. It's been maybe 2 weeks since I've really tried to go after the queen and find her. So we'll try to find her as well while I'm snooping around in here. But first and foremost, we want to get this thing out. Alright. Stick you over there right now. Go eat your honey. So we'll get a full 10 frames in here. Actually, I'll kind of do a little checkerboard and push the frames they're already working on to the end there. Let's see if we can find the queen here. Yeah, nice. This is just a ton of brood on here. This is really good. You can probably see from there all that capped brood. The backside looks very similar, but even the uncapped brood is just full. I mean, this thing is probably 75% brood, which is really good. So I'm gonna put him over at the end. I'll stick the new guy right in the middle. So they start building that out. Ideally, if you got to add in the new ones, you add in the new ones in between already drawn out comb. A little more cap brood, lots of eggs as well. Yeah, lots of eggs. That's so looks healthy. I'm gonna try to find the queen if I can. Try not to spend too much time in here, but oh, squished one. Got me because I squished it. Got me, stung me. All right, I'll see if I can find the queen and let you know. All right, so found the queen. That's good. I'm about to top off the sugar syrup here, but I wanted to grab 1 or 2 of these honey frames and let you take a look at them. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I don't know if you can tell from there. This is probably about 50% capped. The back is maybe a little over 1/3, but yeah, they're definitely putting aside a good amount of honey up here, and they're heavy. Oh yeah, there we go. That's good. So there's a little bit of burr comb. You can tell they're building up top. Scrape that off. Down there, yeah, that's got a ton down there. Try to get you in up close. Bye-bye. Alright, so this is probably my best frame. So take a look at that. So you can see about 50% of this thing is capped honey. Get you a little close, you can see them all head in there, doing some good work. But yeah, that's honey super. So they've definitely done some work even from last week. Even with all that rain, they're still depositing and capping it off. So it's all good. All right. So I wasn't gonna put this guy on camera this week, but I figured I would just kind of show you. So this is my definitely most aggressive hive. I'm not 100% sure why, because I'm still amateur, but it is absolutely aggressive. So you can see when I smoke them, they just go nuts. It's going to explode on me. So I thought it would be kind of cool to take a look at kind of what's going on with these guys. Generally, that's kind of bred into the hive. It's not something that I really know 100% why happens, but it does happen, which is why it's good to have several different hives. So, giant snail. Bye-bye. Another snail. Bye-bye. So, I noticed this probably 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, that when I got in there, they just started bum rushing me, attacking my hands. Had one try to sting me while I had gloves on, doing some work around the yard a couple weeks back. So from then on, I kind of started wearing this thing just in case. But they're definitely very active and pretty aggressive. So just getting in here, I'm going to smoke them a ton. Try to focus them on eating honey and not stinging me. Smoke myself, so I don't smell like a person that they want to sting, and we'll go from there. Yeah. Hopefully that thing does not explode and catch on fire, but we'll see. So I added this super a week ago, and they really haven't done much, which is interesting because the brood chamber is just packed, so all sticky. Ooh, almost got stung, so I almost squished him. But I'll show you guys inside here. I mean, it's just packed to the gills, and they have every one of these just full, lots of brood in there. So I'm going to pull that guy out, add 2 more frames, put the feeder up top, and maybe they'll start stretching out and being a little less aggressive. So I'll try to do this out with gloves. Hopefully I don't get stung too many times, and I can get in and get out as quick as I can. And every time I go in here and try to move stuff around, they just go on the warpath. So see, hopefully I can get in here and get out without ticking too many of them off. Oh yeah, ton of capped brood. You can see there, ton of capped brood. Backside, ton of capped brood. And honey on the corners, kind of your typical build. I'll put that guy on the edge, and then put the empty frames in the middle. Yeah, my smoker going crazy over there. Yeah, they're going bum rushing my hands. That's what they always do. They always come after my hands. Just give them a little smoke. I don't know if you can hear them when I smoke them. They just go nuts, flying around, buzzing super loud. But so far, no stings, so not to jinx it. I'm sure me sweating into the hive doesn't help either. But that I can't help. Yeah. Lots of comb down there. So sometimes this is kind of like swarm mentality. So not a bad idea to knock some of that off. They're not going to like that. Definitely lots of honey in here as well. Seeing some of that. Oh yeah, lots of brood on this one. So hopefully giving them some room maybe calms them down a little bit. I'm not sure if that's enough, but we'll give it a try. And hopefully with the feeder out, and then kind of just back to your standard 10 frames, they'll move up top to eat, and then just build this out, keep building this out with brood. Move some of that honey that's down here up top, ideally. But all right, so overall, all pretty good updates from all three hives. I'll say it's all three completely different. Probably my best hive is hive 1. This may be my most aggressive and active. As you can see, they're just going nuts. And then this is kind of the one on recovery with the new queen. So important to get a couple hives, 2 or 3 hives at least, so you can kind of watch the difference, which is what I've been doing. So 2 more packages coming next week, so we'll get 5 out here, and I think they've survived the bear attacks and the floods. So all good news around.